Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Vera and on here I like to talk about anything that's going on in my knitting life. So today I thought I would start the vlog of what's going to be my Cumulus Blouse knitting vlog. I am going to cast on this blouse today and yeah, I just thought I would take you along with me from start to finish. I've decided which one of the patterns, because of course there's two with the O-neck and the V-neck, that I'm gonna make, and that is the V-neck Cumulus Blouse. I just think it's a little bit more elegant, a little bit more flattering, so that's kind of the pattern that I've chosen for now. I've just purchased the pattern and I mean I've known that I've wanted to make this blouse for a long time, so I already bought the yarn. I've had this yarn at home for a while. The one I'm using is the Hobbii, there it is, the Hobbii Diablo, which is, yeah, like the name says, a Hobbii yarn. It is a 40% acrylic, 30% mohair, and 30% polyamide yarn, and in this 25-gram ball there are 225 meters. So it is definitely like your, you know, pretty basic, or not basic, but it's like your, you know, regular mohair yarn, I'd say, with maybe a little bit less mohair and more synthetic fibers, which I was going for because I don't love the like fluff and like the whole, like when the mohair is everywhere. Like with the sweater, this is the Friends Kid Silk Mohair held double, and I feel like I'm just eating a lot of it, so I was excited to try out a different mohair blend. So this is the one that I am trying out now. It is in the color 54, which is this beautiful like sage green color. I think this color is gorgeous. This is definitely a part of my color palette. So with my measurements, I am going to make size S. I think it calls for a positive ease of 10 to 15 centimeters, and with size S I should get just over 10 centimeters of positive ease, which is, yeah, I like my positive ease if it's a range in the lower end of that range. Yeah, but that's the plan. Yeah, I've done my gauge swatches, so I'll show you those. Here are my two gauge swatches, number 1 and number 2. I'll like put them in lying down next to each other. I had to make 2 because I initially started with 5mm needles. I just realized I switched up the tags. Let me fix that. Okay, so I fixed my tag. So this was my first attempt, which is yeah, on a 5mm needle. I'm holding the yarn double, of course. I think you kind of have to when making a sweater or blouse or something like that. And the gauge I got to, you might be able to read it, but it is 16 stitches and 10 centimeters, which is too few. So I was needing to get to 18, but for some reason I just wanted to try it on a 5mm needle, so I did. Then I tried again on a 4.5mm needle, and then I got my 18 stitch gauge. So that's the one that I'll be using, and I'm really okay like with the like opacity, or with how translucent, I guess you have to call this fabric, with how that is. I think against skin you can kind of see it here. It's not going to be too see-through, but it'll still have that like mohair blouse texture. Yeah, so I'm good to go. I have my 4.5mm needles and my 2 strands of the Diablo yarn by Hobbii. I have 10 of these, so I'm not really worried about running out or anything. And yeah, I'm gonna cast on this project. Hello, so just a quick check-in. I did like an hour-ish of knitting now. I'm just like watching my show, and I just wanted to hop over to the next room because video games are being played in the other room and that would be a little distracting. But this is where we're at. I love the color so much. I think it will be like the back here, I guess, like this. Oh, I already love it. Like, I'm just excited to work on it. It's just a bunch of raglan increases at the moment, so it's nothing too riveting. It is like a single stitch raglan right here, which I think is beautiful. I think there's something so crisp and fine about a single stitch raglan. But yeah, just wanted to check in. It is like almost 5 o'clock now, so I guess it's been over an hour. I think we're gonna have some dinner and then watch some football, and I'll just keep on knitting on my Cumulus Blouse. Let's see how far I get on it today. I'm curious myself. It is like going relatively quickly because of the big gauge, and I'm also getting used to the yarn a little bit more. It's less finicky now, so yeah, that's that. So I wanted to quickly come on here to give a quick update on my Cumulus Blouse. So far so good. I have just started my second 2 pairs, like my second 2 skeins of yarn, because of course you're always knitting, or I'm always knitting from 2 simultaneously. So these are number 3 and 4 that I'm using, and I will show you how it's going. This is where we're at. So I just finished all the raglan increases, and I've just kind of put the stitches for the sleeves on hold. This time I just used a string. I do have the stitch holders, but I figured like I will want to try this blouse on for length eventually when I get down there, and then it's just easier to have it like on a spare piece of yarn than on the stitch holders, because my stitch holders, they don't allow like for me to kind of go into them or like try it on. I did make one modification, and I essentially did 1 less repeats of the raglan back and forth in order to create a little bit of a higher neckline. It was something that was like a little bit difficult to kind of like judge from the pictures. I like browsed through a lot of Ravelry projects, as well as through the pictures that she posted from the projects, like PetiteKnit posted on her website. And sometimes the opening was just a little bit low for my liking. So I just kind of wanted to play it safe, and I joined in the round basically 4 rows earlier in the hopes that the V opening won't be too low. Yeah, just to like allow me to wear it to work, and just to not need to worry too much when bending over and things like that. Yeah, so that's why, although I just put these on hold, that's why I already have like quite a significant like amount down here where the V-neck opens. From my understanding, you join the I-cord quite a bit later, or you do the I-cord finishing later. So yeah, I guess now it's all about kind of continuing in the round until you reach your desired length. I want to quickly talk about the yarn. So it is the Diablo yarn by Hobbii, as I mentioned, and it's not scratchy at all. So I actually tried this on before joining to make sure that I liked where the V-neck sits, and it was really nice to the touch. Like, I mean, of course you touch it and you kind of put it against your wrist and stuff, but I feel like you really feel it in this area. Like, this is where, if something is itchy, I feel it, I guess. So I didn't have any issues with this at all. Like, it does have mohair in it, so I was a little bit cautious because mohair can go itchy even if there's just a little bit of mohair in a yarn, but it's not itchy at all. I love the color. I can't stress how much I love this color. The only thing that I'm finding is a downside of this yarn is the knitting experience. Like, it's just kind of rough. I don't know how to describe it. I guess rough is kind of a right word, in that like when you, I'm gonna try to like show you here. So I'll show it here. So like when you go in like this, you see like this stitch is loose, right? Like this one I can pull, but sometimes I'll get stuck and then I can only get so far, like a little bit far with my needle, and then it's kind of like a bit laborious to get the yarn through. Maybe I'll find one to show you. There's always a few good ones and a few bad ones. So I just found one that's like not nice to knit. So this one here, if I am to knit in this one, like I just get stuck, like I can't pull it. And even if I'm like, now I'm putting a lot of pressure on it, I can't really get through it. And obviously I can still knit it, but I just think in terms of knitting experience, it's not like, I don't know, it's not as smooth as a like a regular, I don't know, wool or merino mix, whatever it would be. I guess it's just part of the mohair, and that it is like a fluffy yarn, and there is obviously like the texture definition is therefore also like irregular, but I'd say it's like a regular irregularity, like all the stitches are slightly different, but it kind of works as a whole. I'm not really that bothered about the knitting experience, but I think if you're someone who really knits like, or is really picky about their tactile, like, how do I describe it? Like their tactile like experience of the stitches just like flowing off, then maybe this is not the best yarn for you to use. I'm already consciously using metal needles because they do slide a bit easier. But yeah. If you look at the stitch definition here, you can definitely see like there are irregularities, but it kind of works. Yeah, so definitely different to like a regular like yarn, merino yarn, or whatever you're used to knitting with cotton, acrylic, whatever, mix, polyester. But yeah, I will continue working on my body. So I'm kind of just under the arms. I think I just have quite a few mindless stockinette to go, and then yeah, I'll check in later. So it is a whole number of weeks later actually. I basically just put this blouse, or sweater actually to be honest, away because it was just so warm, and then I was gone. I was in Nice in France for a week, and yeah, so I've just kind of like picked it up again, and let me show you. So I finished the body right here. This is what it looks like at the moment. I finished the body and I did the 4-stitch I-cord bind off. So this is what it looks like. In the pattern, it essentially describes that you do that bind off in order to prevent it from curling up. So I think that's a really nice like touch. And I actually already like finished a whole sleeve where I also did the same exact bind off at the hem. So I'm gonna try it on to try to show you. I'm really loving it. I've gotten used to knitting it. Like it's not that bad. Like I kind of like figured out how to hold the stitches in order to make it like less sticky, if that makes sense, because I did mention that all the stitches were like not really flowing and very sticky on the needles, but I just kind of figured out a way by pulling the stitches down a little bit. So this is what it looks like. Just kind of, so you can hopefully see it here. I finished the first sleeve, it looks like this, and the second sleeve is, I kind of started on that yesterday evening, and I'll continue making that like tonight. I don't think I'll finish it tonight because it is still like quite a long ways to go. In terms of my yarn, I am on yarn number 5 and 6, or skein 5 and 6, so I guess that is 150 grams once this is done. Is that true? Yes, that's true. But I don't think this will like get me through the whole sleeve, so I'll be starting yarn number, or skein 7 and 8. And yeah, so far so good. Like it's definitely a knit that I'm trying to finish now. Like now it rained, now it's a little bit cooler, and I'm like trying to knit it because otherwise it's not gonna get knit before fall. It's just too hot, especially like with this fluffy yarn. There's nothing worse than sweating and having this fluffy yarn to deal with. And then I guess the finishing thing will be making the I-card here. And by the way, I'm super happy that I made the adjustment of shortening or heightening the opening, because like according to pattern this would have been like 4 rows below, so I joined it in the round 4 rows earlier, which I think was a really good decision, because otherwise like it's already here, and I understand that it'll be like pulled in a little bit, but it's already here and I really wouldn't want that to be any lower. So I'm really happy that I made that adjustment. I guess it also always depends a bit on like the height of your stitches. I haven't actually like checked my height of the stitches to what the pattern calls for in terms of gauge, but regardless I think it's turning out pretty well. And And yeah, so I'll probably honestly check in once I have the second sleeve done. In terms of the pattern, like, it's very straightforward, it's very basic. I'm just noticing that I'm losing a lot of stitches by trying it on, but that's okay. I'll pick them up again. This yarn is so sticky that like the stitch doesn't slip far when you lose it. But yeah, in terms of the pattern, it's very clear, like it's very explanatory. I understand that this is one of her earlier patterns, and she's definitely like changed her writing style a little bit in the terms or in the amount of detail that she gives, where now she gives a little bit more detail, PetiteKnit, where before maybe a lot more assumptions were made about like knitting knowledge. But because this is such a simple pattern, like I really think it's still beginner friendly. I really think it's still something that like even after like a YouTube video or two, you'll be totally fine, even if you've like never knit a sweater before, or a blouse for that matter. But yeah, so that is my quick check-in. I'm going to probably spend my evening knitting. It is already super dark out because we had like the worst, like it's been thunderstorming for the last 3-4 hours. It's been hailing, it's been raining sideways. It's just the whole package. So yeah, don't really want to go outside anyway. So what better weather to be inside knitting. So I'm literally halfway through the I-cord bind off of like the second sleeve, and it looks really wide at the moment, but like it looks fine when I wear it. But the problem is we have to go to Germany, or we don't have to, but we're going to Germany like now, in like we're literally leaving in like half an hour, less than. And I was kind of hoping to get it like blocked, or at least like wet it and like wash it so that I could put it on the blocking mat so it's just like dry when I come back. But it's not gonna happen because like I still need to do the whole I-cord across the V opening and finish the sleeve. So it's kind of a bit like, I wish I could have just finished it, but it's fine. Once I come back Sunday evening or Monday after work, I'll just be able to finish it and then block it and then have it be ready. The sleeves worked up super quickly. I think my last check-in, I like had just started the sleeve, and that was 2 days ago. And I didn't really like knit that much. I did like, yeah, I did the one sleeve basically in like one evening, like, yeah, and the rest I did just now. But it's working up quickly. It is at 18 stitch gauge on 4.5mm needle, so it is like just quick. I think I've just been working on like smaller gauges, so it just feels like it's kind of flying, which is nice, which is like, I like having the balance between a bigger gauge and a smaller gauge, because obviously with a smaller gauge you don't get the instant gratification of just like finishing, I don't know, like 10-20 centimeters in like one sitting or like in an evening of knitting. But with a bigger gauge you kind of do, and like with a smaller gauge, I don't know, it's just like a little bit more finicky, a little bit more fine, which is also okay. I've also been working on my temperature blanket a bunch because I'm actually really behind. I noticed I'm like over a month behind, and yeah, I don't know, I'm not too motivated by my temperature blanket at the moment just because it's summer and I don't need a blanket on me. Like this is like borderline at the moment. We do have like the fan here, where is it, somewhere behind me, going. Otherwise I couldn't like knit this at all. But yeah, I still am gonna be left with almost, I guess, just over 3 skeins, because I have 2 full ones left, and then I'm gonna have 2 that are like barely touched left, which is kind of fun. So I might like, I don't know, I can definitely do more with the yarn, which, yeah, I don't know if I was too harsh about the yarn. I think it's actually, once I figured out how to knit with it, it's been completely fine. Yeah, I guess it's just a little bit of a personal preference. Once I actually finish this and wear it, I'll give like a more detailed review of the yarn, just because I've had like some questions in my previous videos when I've been talking about this project, because it is like a more affordable mohair. But yeah, I'll try to like actually give it justice and actually like wear the item so I can judge it a little bit better. But anyways, I'm gonna finish my packing and then we're gonna go to Germany, and this will probably not receive more knitting, or this will probably not be knit on in the next like week or so, or in the next few days, because I'm taking another project to knit there, and yeah, we will see. So I'm super excited to report that my Cumulus Blouse v-neck is now finished. This is what it looks like. I finished the I-cord at the top collar last night. I just kind of did it while watching TV. You don't have to like look with an eye cord, but like once you get into the groove of it, it's really fine. I'm left with these 2 balls and then 2 more full balls. And I just weighed this. It weighs 161 grams, so I'd used just over, what's that? I guess that's 6 balls. So I used just over the 6 balls, and I guess like whatever I used or whatever I started from this. The only thing that's left to do now is to block it. I can try it on real quick. So this is what it looks like before blocking. So I think this looks super nice. I think the sleeves are like a really nice length. Maybe like they'll get a little bit longer, which I would be totally fine with, but also if they stay this length, I would also be completely fine with that. It's low cut, but it's not too low cut, so that was kind of like one of my worries. And I think it's also a good length at the back and over here. So far I'm happy with it. It's way too hot to wear it right now. I think it's over 30 degrees outside and we don't have AC. So yeah, we'll not be wearing this like at the moment for sure. But I'm really happy that I was able to finish it. So yeah, now I guess we're gonna block it and then see what it looks like after blocking. Hello, so I finished my Cumulus Blouse. This is what it looks like, and I've blocked it I think around about like a week and a half ago, and then I actually already wore it for a full day, just to be able to, you know, give better insights, talk about it a little bit more, how it wears and so on and so forth. I always feel like after you wear a garment for the first day, I don't know, at least for myself, I already kind of know if I'm gonna like it or not, so this has gone through that test. Yeah, I think in terms of blocking, I just did like a regular water with washing detergent block, nothing special there. I also didn't have to like pull it in any way. Like I think the shape that it kind of was when it was wet, like that just kind of worked. Like, you know how sometimes you have to pull knits in a certain way to get things wider, to get things a little less wide. But first let me show you. So this is what the front looks like. It is kind of, when I'm relaxing, it's kind of like right down like to my pockets. So right here it kind of comes down to my pockets of my pants. Yeah, and the sleeves, I think my right sleeve is ever so slightly longer than my left sleeve, but it's like a really slight difference. I think it's noticeable like to only myself when I'm wearing it. Like this sleeve is a bit longer than this one. But I'm not bothered about it, so I'm not gonna change anything about it. I think the thing I love the most about this blouse is the color choice I made. And yeah, after wearing it today, I definitely feel really confident in it. Like I love the color, it kind of matches my eyes, which is kind of nice. And yeah, it is a warm blouse, so it's not really a summer blouse, it's definitely like a summer evening blouse. Or autumn/spring garment, just because of the yarn choice that I made. And otherwise, in terms of like fit, it's lovely. Like it's really, I feel like the V opening is just like gives it a little bit of like extraness that maybe a round neck wouldn't. So it definitely feels a little bit more elegant than just a regular sweater. Let me talk about the yarn that I used, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the pattern and my overall kind of conclusion on this garment. So for this blouse, I made myself a size S, which was exactly what I needed according to my measurements. I hit the gauge that the pattern asked for, which was 18 stitches and 10 centimeters on 4.5mm needles. So that is what I used. And I held this yarn double. So it is Hobbie's Diablo yarn. This yarn is a mix of 40% acrylic, 30% mohair, and 30% polyamide. And I wanted to try this yarn. I mean, I've seen it on Hobbii for a while, and I just wanted to try it because to me it sounded like an interesting mix that is still mohair. I mean, it still has 30% mohair, but that maybe doesn't give like the extremity of the mohair fluff. I don't love that because I find that it kind of just gets everywhere. Like whenever I have one mohair sweater that I held 2 mohair strands double, whenever I wear that I have the fluff everywhere, and I just really did not want that again. So I figured that this one, because it is mixed with the polymid and the acrylic, maybe it would kind of mitigate that a little bit. And that I have to say it did. So like I said, I wore this for a full day, kind of morning to evening, everything I did that day, and I did definitely not feel like the sweater was like coming apart, or that the fluff was coming apart of the sweater. I didn't feel like I was eating the sweater. I think if you know the mohair fluff, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So that is definitely a pro of this yarn. Yeah, so I did hold it double, so the integrity of the stitches is pretty like good. It's definitely like a solid yeah, fabric that comes, but definitely like still has the mohair aspect. You also see that there's a little bit of like the halo, but not too much at all. But it still like definitely has the vibe of a mohair, if that makes sense. I will say that this garment, I don't find it itchy, but I think if you're super sensitive, so if you're someone who like as soon as wool touches you, you kind of itch, it might feel a little bit itchy. Like throughout the day, or even now wearing it, I'm definitely like, oh, there's a little itch, but like it's not enough for me to be like uncomfortable from it. And it doesn't really bother me, so I think definitely a good option, because I know some mohairs can be really itchy in terms of that. But I think also if you're super sensitive, maybe do stay clear of this yarn. It is pretty warm because of the mohair and the acrylic blend, but that is to be expected. Yeah, in terms of pilling and all that, I can't really talk about it just yet because I haven't worn it enough, but I think this definitely will be a garment that I wear a lot. In terms of the pattern and the modifications I made, I think I already mentioned it, but I made basically the only modification I made was the opening, which would have been 4 rows lower if I would have knitted according to pattern. I'm really happy that I didn't do that, because this to me is like the perfect like drop of a V opening. I think anything more would make me uncomfortable. Anything more would require me to wear some sort of t-shirt or tank top underneath, but I think like this I can still wear it and look put together. And yeah, other than that, I made like the length, the measurements according just to my size by trying it on. So I guess there are some modifications there, but I think that's unique to everyone who makes it. Yeah, so I'm super happy with how this turned out. I don't think this was my last Cumulus Blouse that I made. This is so nice. I think the next time I make it, I definitely want to use a fiber that's maybe a little bit lighter, a little bit more breathable, because I think this sweater, or this blouse, is definitely more on the sweater side than on the like blouse summery airy top side. So yeah, that's probably the only like note that I will make to myself. But otherwise, this is definitely a pattern that I can recommend. Yeah, if you're also knitting a Cumulus Blouse, or if you're thinking about knitting one, let me know down below. Let me know how you're experiencing it. I think these videos and like comments are always so helpful before you start a pattern, or when you're like already knitting it, just to like, you know, see someone else talk about it, knit it, or like just read what other people are kind of experiencing. So yeah, that brings us to the end of this video. It's kind of like I filmed this over a really long time span, so forgive me if I repeated myself a lot. But my Cumulus Blouse is finally finished. It is July now, so definitely took me a while. I think I casted this on in like May, I guess. But better late than never, I guess. And yeah, I hope you liked this video. If you did, I'd love for you to stick around and subscribe, like this video, comment down below, do all those things. I post videos on here around about every week, so I'll see you in the next one, and until then, take care. Bye.